things I wrote here. There are plenty of them, but I focus on 2. There are 2 ways God measures love. Number 1 is obedience. Number 2 is sacrifice. The wicked give to utter decisions. But the Bible is saying here that the sacrifice of the wicked is detestable to the Lord. When it comes to sacrifice, it has to be done from a righteous heart. From an obedient heart. When it comes to sacrifice, you can't bribe God with sacrifice. You first have to be righteous. So this one that I will give my way into God's kingdom, God knew that is with negative intention. Someone said something very powerfully and profound. He said there are 2 gods that can be in a man's life. Me paraphrasing now as I understand it. He said number 1 is God, number 2 is money. He said you will use one to always serve the other. If it is God you want to serve, you will use your money to serve him. If it's money you want to serve, you will use God to serve money. So your giving will be colored. You know that I'm giving to God now because I know he has to give me back. Now, of course, every time you give to God, you should be expecting that he will give you back. But if that is the sole reason, every time, that is the sole reason, say, now you're going to give, you receive 10 million, you quickly brought your phone. So that means that your motivation is not God. Your motivation is the money. You are just trying to use God. So when it comes to sacrifices, you must first be accepted. The fastest way you can be accepted is obedience. One of the ways God measures is your love for him is what you are doing with his commandment. Whoever has my command, can we read this together? This is where we are coming. Whoever has my and obeys them is the one who loves. He said, he who loves me will be. Wait. We have already done John 3:16. This is John 14. So that means that this word love are not the same. Because if the Bible says, for God so loved the world, why are they using will in a sentence here? Why is the sentence now coming up with will? If God has done it in the past, where is will coming from? That means it's not the same love. This love that God will show here is because you love him. Yes. That means God already loved the whole world. But he now make a provision available for those that love him. Because look at what Jesus is saying. He said, whoever has my commands and does what? And obeys them. He said he is the one who loves me. Number 1. He said he who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I too will love him and show myself to him. That means that for God so loved the world, he already gave it love to them. The new dimension of love God is showing is not love to the world. It's love to those that love him. God can know if you love him by the instructions he's giving you that are not making sense and yet you are obeying. I wrote something in my notes. I said obedience and disobedience are spiritual transactions. Obedience and disobedience are spiritual transactions. They have consequences or reward. Once you obey or disobey, you have made a spiritual transaction. Your choices most times will determine your outcome in life. You may think that if I just disobey God small. Hope you know that the difference between King Saul and David was just obedience. One was focused on sacrifice. The other was focused on pleasing God. God say end that relationship. You say I see life in it. I see possibility in it. No, just give me few days more. No, just give me like few more months. God, by the time I'm done with that relationship, even you will be surprised. You see, I'm surprised already. God is saying, if you love me, you will do what? If you love me, what will you do? You will keep my commandment. It is your obedience to God that leads to sacrifice. Your obedience to God is what leads to sacrifice. And in sacrifice, you are going to sacrifice time. You are going to sacrifice convenience. You are going to sacrifice food. You are going to sacrifice sleep. And you are even going to sacrifice your money. Sometimes your life. I taught this before, but I'll still say it again. I'm going to give us 5 reasons why we disobey God. 5 reasons why we disobey God. But let's read this for somewhere. The Holy Spirit communicate to me that a number of us, we are wasting our obedience. You see, in this kingdom, there's nothing like partial obedience. Partial obedience, in fact, partial obedience is worse than disobedience. In this kingdom, partial obedience, if God asks you to do anything and you do it partially, is worse than disobedience. Do you know this? That of disobedience, you are expecting any consequence. That of partial obedience, you have even used your energy, you have used your time, you have used your resources, you have used so many things, and yet you did not obey. That one is more painful. Hope you know that for some of us, is not the disobedience that is to kill us, it's the partial disobedience. When God asks you to destroy anything completely, it's because anything that is left of you will come back to kill you. Partial obedience is you setting yourself up for death. Anytime God give you an instruction, I want to beg you with the message of God, don't keep anything back. Go all out. Don't waste your obedience. Don't give God partial obedience. Let me give you 5 reasons why people disobey God. Number 1, what will people say? I've said it before. The reason why people disobey God is because they are like, what would they say? What would they say? They are me. So most times, your miracles are passing you by because of what people say. And let me quickly help you. People are saying a lot. So give them something better to talk about. Let them say your own is too much. How do you take concern them? Because you have been offered to a deity. The life you now live is not yours. Don't waste your obedience. What will people say? What will people say? I've not allowed people grow. God can say that ministry, you go and be sharing their house. Anything they do, be sharing it every time. Just be sharing. Just be sharing. They say he's doing eye service. Let him be doing eye service, provided you know he's not eye service. If they say you are doing eye service and you to know it's eye service, that's where there's issue. Anytime God give you an instruction, don't allow any person to ask you what will people say. Your liftings are tied to instruction. Please preach to your neighbor. Your liftings are tied to instruction. The second one is due to your uncertainty. You are not certain. The number 3 is to prove a point. The number 4, which I love, is because you don't fully know your God. You are disobeying God because you don't fully know your God. And then number 5, because you don't reason. Yeah, you don't reason. And I say, when you place obedience and sacrifice on the same pedestal, obedience will win any day, anytime. My question to you is your obedience partial or complete? Have you been blessed or blessed?